of momentous developments that have taken place while
take your seat, please. No, please take your seat. बाद में सुनेंगे. बाद में सुनेंगे. Take your seat.
On 11th May, India successfully carried out 3 underground nuclear tests. Two more underground tests on 13th May completed the planned series of tests. I would like this House to join me in paying fulsome tribute to our scientists, engineers, and defense personnel whose singular achievements have given us a renewed sense of national pride and self-confidence. Sir, in addition to the statement I make, I have also taken the opportunity to submit to the House a paper entitled Evolution of India's Nuclear Policy. In 1947, where India emerged as a free country to take its rightful place in the Committee of Nations, the nuclear age had already dawned. Our leaders then took the crucial decision to opt for self-reliance and freedom of thought and action. We rejected the Cold War paradigm and chose the more difficult path of non-alignment. Our leaders also realized that a nuclear weapon-free world would enhance not only India's security, but also the security of all nations. That is why disarmament was and continues to be a major plank of our foreign policy. During the 50s, India took the lead in calling for an end to all nuclear weapon testing. Addressing the Lok Sabha on 2nd April 1954, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, to whose memory we pay homage today, stated, I quote, "Nuclear, chemical and biological energy and power should not be used to forge weapons of mass destruction." Quotation closed. He called for negotiations for prohibition and elimination of nuclear weapons, and in the interim, a standstill agreement to halt nuclear testing. This call was not heeded. In 1965, along with a small group of non-aligned countries, India put forward the idea of an international non-proliferation agreement under which the nuclear weapon states would agree to give up their arsenals provided other countries refrained from developing or acquiring such weapons. This balance of rights and obligations was not accepted. In the 60s, our security concerns deepened. The country sought security guarantees, but the countries we turned to were unable to extend to us the expected assurances. As a result, we made it clear that we would not be able to sign the NPT. The Lok Sabha debated the issue on 5th April 1968. Prime Minister late Shrimati Indira Gandhi assured the House that, I quote, "We shall be guided entirely by our self-enlightenment and the considerations of national security," unquote. This was a turning point, and this House strengthened the decision of the then government by reflecting a national consensus. Our decision not to sign the NPT was in keeping with our basic objective. In 1974, we demonstrated our nuclear capability. Successive governments thereafter have taken all necessary steps in keeping with that resolve and national will to safeguard India's nuclear option. This was the primary reason behind the 1996 decision for not signing the CTBT, a decision that also enjoyed consensus of this House. The decades of 80s and 90s had meanwhile witnessed the gradual deterioration of our security environment as a result of nuclear and missile proliferation. In our neighborhood, nuclear weapons had increased and more sophisticated delivery systems inducted. In addition, India has also been the victim of externally aided and abetted terrorism, militancy, and clandestine war. At a global level, we see no evidence on the part of the nuclear weapon states to take decisive and irreversible steps in moving towards a nuclear weapon-free world. Instead, we have seen that the NPT has been extended indefinitely and unconditionally, perpetuating the existence of nuclear weapons in the hands of the 5 countries. Under such circumstances, the government was faced with a difficult decision. The touchstone that has guided us in making the correct choice clear was national security. These tests are a continuation of the policies set into motion that put this country on the path of self-reliance of thought and action. India is now a nuclear weapon state. This is a reality that cannot be denied. It is not a conferment that we seek, nor is it a status for others to grant. It is an endowment to the nation by our scientists and engineers. It is India's due, the right of 1/6 of humankind. Our strengthened capability adds to our sense of responsibility. We do not intend to use these weapons for aggression or for mounting threats against any country. These are weapons of self-defense to ensure that India is not subjected to nuclear threat or coercion. We do not intend to engage in arms race. We have taken a number of initiatives in the past. We regret that these proposals did not receive a positive response from other nuclear weapon states. In fact, had their response been positive, we need not have gone in for our current testing program. We have been and will continue to be in the forefront of the calls for opening negotiations for a nuclear weapons convention so that this challenge can be dealt with in the same manner that we have dealt with the scourge of 2 other weapons of mass destruction through the Biological Weapons Convention and the Chemical Weapons Convention. Traditionally, India has been an outward-looking country. Our strong commitment to multilateralism is reflected in our active participation in organizations like the United Nations. This engagement will continue. The policies of economic liberalization introduced in recent years have increased our regional and global linkages, and my government intends to deepen and strengthen these ties. Our nuclear policy has been marked by restraint and openness. We have not violated any international agreement either in 1974 or now in 1998. The restraint exercise for 24 years after having demonstrated our capability in 1974 is in itself a unique example. Restraint, however, has to arise from strength. It cannot be based upon indecision or doubt. The series of tests recently undertaken by India have led to the removal of doubts. The action involved was balanced in that it was the minimum necessary to maintain what is an irreducible component of our national security calculus. Subsequently, government has already announced that India will now observe a voluntary moratorium and refrain from conducting underground nuclear test explosions. We have also indicated willingness to move towards a de jure formalization of this declaration. The House is no doubt aware of the different reactions that have emanated from the people of India and from different parts of the world. The overwhelming support of our citizens is our source of strength. It tells us not only that this decision was right, but also that our country wants a focused leadership which attends to their security needs. This I pledge to do as a sacred duty. We have also been greatly heartened by outpouring of support from Indians abroad. They have with one voice spoke in favor of our action. To the people of India and to Indians abroad, I convey my profound gratitude. We look to the people of India and Indians abroad for support in the difficult period ahead. In this, the 50th year of our independence, we stand at a defining moment in our history. The rationale for the government's decision is based on the same policy tenets that have guided us for 5 decades. These policies have been sustained successfully because of an underlying national consensus. It is vital to maintain the consensus as we approach the next millennium. In my statement today and in the paper placed before the House, I have elaborated on the rationale behind the government's decision and outlined our approach for the future. The present decision and future actions will continue to reflect a commitment to sensibilities and obligations of an ancient civilization, a sense of responsibility and restraint, but a restraint born of the assurance of action, not of doubts or apprehension. Avoiding triumphalism, let us work together towards our shared objective in ensuring that as we move towards a new millennium, India will take its rightful place in the international community. Thank you.